Hi everyone. I just wanted to show you something that I've been working on and kind of playing around with. I know some other people have done this already, and I just wanted to show you how I used some materials just to recycle and make my own Cuttlebug folders. I did a couple of them earlier. This one I did out of just poster board. I swear I'm going to be called the poster board queen here soon. It's cheap and it works pretty good. You don't really get a deep impression with this. I don't know if we see if we can see this on here. Yeah, a little bit. Let me try this other piece. There we go. So you don't get a real deep impression with this one because the material is so thin. So the other thing I tried it with was some cereal boxes, and it looks like this when you do it. The Mickey head's there, and there's the other side. And this one turned out a little better. Now this is paper tray and cardstock, so it's a little thicker, but I think it came out pretty good. Almost as good as one of the Cuttlebug folders. Here it is on some just plain white cardstock. You can see you can get a pretty good impression with them. So let me show you how I went about doing these. I used my gypsy, and I pretty much just laid out my images on the screen. I made them 1/2 inch tall, and whatever the width came out to with them. And there's the Mickey hands, and then I did Minnie's bows as well. And I did them so they fit in a 4x6 area on my mat. And then when you cut them out, I won't bore you with going through all the cutting out. It comes out on your mat. As you can see, I used just plain cereal boxes. And I did this on multi-cut of 2. Now what I'll do is I am going to remove one of these and get it set up on the folder to show you how to glue them down and to get your images on the opposite side here. What I do is after I cut them like this, use a bigger piece of cardboard than what I really need, and then I'll trim it down when I'm done. And the folders that I use, this is just a piece of cardboard that came with my little Jetmax cubes there, and I just put 2 of them together. These are 5x7, and I hinged it with a piece of cardstock. So let me go ahead and trim this up and take one off the mat, and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, I have my image removed from the mat, and I've trimmed it down to 4x6, and I put adhesive around the edge using my ATG gun, and I also put it in between the rows. And we're going to go ahead and just adhere this down on the inside of our folder that we made, and try to get it as straight as you can when you put it in here. Okay, we'll just push that down. Now, I don't know about the rest of you, but I have some trouble sometimes with my Cricut where the blade goes into the image to start cutting, and where it stops, it doesn't always cut through, like in the one area. It just seems like it stops a little too short, and I have to sometimes pull my pieces out. If that happens and you notice it, just take, a nail file or your craft knife and make sure you just knock off that little nub there, because it will interfere when you put your pieces in and try to glue them to the other side. They won't come out real easily. So then what we'll do here is we'll stick these back in, and I like to work row by row to make sure that I get good stickiness, I guess, on the pieces. And you can use whatever adhesive you want. I'm going to try to use my quick dry glue, and I'm just going to put a little dot on here. And whatever you use, you want to make sure it does not ooze over into your cardboard or you're not going to get the thing apart. Okay, so I got my glue on here like that, and next thing I'm going to do is just push this down and push firmly, and just, since this is the quick dry glue, it'll only take a second to dry. And what we're going to do is just carefully pull this up, cross our fingers, and none of them stuck. Sometimes they do that. They're really tight in there. Okay, we got 2 of them. Add a little more glue. And that they stick in. You can always sand around the edge a little bit so they will come out. So what we're going to do is we'll do this to each row. And then when we're done, I will show you how we run them through the Cuttlebug. Okay, now I have all of my items glued down in my folder, and this is where the part where you need to experiment with doing some of these. Depending on the thickness of your materials, I ran some through already, and as you can see, you can get a nice deep emboss with this. These are the mini bows. And what I found works best for me is I use the A plate, the 2 B plates, and then I have some shims that I made up because these are not as thick as your normal embossing folder. So I just have 2 pieces of cardboard. I don't even know where these came from. I just got them out of some packaging and I kept them thinking I could recycle them at some point, and this is where I'm going to be using these. So let me just show you how we do this. We open up our folder. We're going to take our piece of paper, and this is just plain kind of heavyweight paper, not quite cardstock. We'll put that in there and close our folder. Now I'm taking my A plate, my B plate, my folder, put that on there, on my other B plate, get that centered in there a little better, and then I'm going to use my 2 shims, and we're going to run this through the machine. I tried to use A, a B, and a C, and yeah, that doesn't really work too well. In fact, this thing came back and slammed me in the hand, so I wouldn't recommend doing that. It's going to be a little hard. Just wind it on through, and take this all out of here. Open up our folder, and there is our embossed image on the paper. I've only ever done this really with some simple designs like the bow, and I did one with Mickey heads, and I don't know how well it would work with a more intricate design, but you can try it out and let me know, and I will try one out too, and I'll if I get everything to work well, I will post it on here as well. Now on this, what I did on here was also, I put Mickey head deep embossed because I did the other one with just the poster board. And then I put on here, I used the A plate, the 2 B plates, and the 2 shims that I have. So I knew next time I go to use this, I know what I need to use with this. So there you go. You can make your own embossing folders, and you don't have to use expensive materials. All I used was stuff that I had around in some cereal boxes, and it pretty much cost me next to nothing to make these. So go ahead and make your own folders. Have fun. Bye.